Kabadiwala Connect is still very much is a startup. So we're working to kind of integrate this informal waste supply chain inclusively into the formal waste management system. So we work with recyclers or producer responsibility organizations, or a mix of them, or in some cases, municipalities and research organizations, to kind of figure out, okay, how active is an informal supply chain in a particular region, and then how do you kind of rope them in either on the collection side or on the processing side, such that you can work with them for a long term. You can put traceability solutions in, you can give them better pricing, you can give them better access to health and safety equipment, things like that. It's been like I said, we're a startup, so we're very much in like a proof of concept mode. So we've done a lot of work in different cities in India, like Chennai, Bangalore, Bombay, did some work in Surat last year. We've done some work in Indonesia, in Surabaya and Semarang, all really working with kind of consortiums of groups looking to put recycling technologies in place, and like really figuring out how do you do the collection side, how do you get reliable feedstock to the recycler. We propose like a 4-step kind of philosophy for informal sector integration. The first is enumeration. So really, like, without a database of where the scrap shops are, who they are, what is the, what types of material, who are the waste pickers, you don't really get anywhere. So enumeration is really key. And it's also really important for policymakers, et cetera, to think of plans and policies. Without this really baseline data, it's a huge problem. The second is really getting them integrated into like social packages. There's a lot of government programs that once you enumerate them, you can see what is their validity to kind of be accepted to different government programs. So for example, in Chennai, we have this kind of ongoing project where we're trying to get about 500 waste pickers health insurance. And so enumeration is key, but then helping them get the documents, et cetera. This is just a good example of trying to get them integrated into as many social projects that connect to them. The third is really what we call like digitalized procurement. So start working with them, procure material from them, invest in site compliance, invest in better labor compliance, invest in like giving them more money. Because of your traceability system, you can ensure that the waste picker gets a fair share, et cetera. The fourth step and the final step, the most complex, is integrate the scrap shops and the waste pickers in last mile collection. So we kind of work across the spectrum. We have, we have a proof of concept for collection and things. But when we work with like a recycler or a brand owner or something like that, in the starting phase, when you're doing a proof of concept, it's always like first step, then second step, then third step kind of a thing, I typically see like municipalities really struggling with the cash question of organizing an efficient collection system. So there was a World Bank study which said that it can cost, like in the global south, for municipalities, anywhere between 20 to 50% of its budget for the kind of cookie cutter waste collection model that you see, like in let's say the global north, like in Europe and things like that. So really what the municipality has is this kind of legacy system that's really focused on centralized models of collection, and that you can, if you look backwards, you can see that that's been quite a poor tactic. Like, we are just trying to prioritize waste collection to the landfill. That itself is too expensive. It's very hard on top of that to even imagine how do you actually recover specific waste streams and things like that. So I think there are these issues with kind of legacy thought about how waste management should be organized in the global south and how it's financed. That's a big problem. It's not necessarily the fault of a particular municipal officer. They're kind of trapped into a system. Kabadiwala Connect as a startup really tries to, we really like kind of like would love to work with municipalities to solve these kind of questions, because we've been running a pilot in Chennai, for example, where we've been working with one neighborhood scrap shop and their waste pickers to go and organize collection of plastic directly from households. Really, we believe that if you take these small scrap shops and their waste pickers and really deploy them for last mile waste collection, it's actually a very powerful model. It can actually lead to big savings for the municipality, but it's a very high risk strategy. So I think more examples need to come about, like positive solutions coming up that are using the informal sector. I think that, pure recycling, there's a lot of excitement there because people are like looking to invest into recycling plants, like big 5,000 ton a year, 10,000 ton a year plants, but they don't know where their feedstock is. So the informal aggregators, they come in a great kind of like, they solve a great issue on volume collection. But if you pair that with digitalization, if you pair that with investments in health and safety, you can see like broader outcomes. But the most complex challenge is going to be solving the last mile waste collection issue. I believe a lot in the power of traceability. Like digitalization essentially leads to traceability. So if a material, like from the moment it was collected, as you know, has gone through a system of like how it moved from A to B to C, then there's a lot of trust on like that material, and then there's a lot of end destinations that's exciting for that material. So for example, if you can prove that it's like from a city, it's post-consumer waste, or it's been near an ocean, 50 kilometers from an ocean, then it comes under a certain premium standard, so people can pay more money for it. And it's a very, very important kind of system that can power the demand for post-consumer waste in new products, you know, this kind of circular economy approach. Like, we believe that they should be finding their closest kabadiwala shop, segregating their recyclables at home, and going to their local kabadiwala shop and selling that material. You have like a local invisible recycler that's there for you. So really believe and like set up a segregation system, I think, is really important for the public. We really need to raise awareness so that people start segregating at their home. People already do. There's already a culture of people saying, I expect to get money when I recycle, when I segregate my waste and go to my kabadiwala. You know what I mean? So improve the recycling culture, like celebrate like our local scrap shops as heroes of circular economy, and really drive that messaging home. I think that that's something that I would love to see the public and also the kind of like NGO sector really kind of advocating as something that's unique to the global south.